Hi, Sarah Pacaro, hypnotherapist and rapid transformational therapist. Today in this video, we're going to talk about 35 signs of a toxic and unhealthy relationship. So make sure that if you like this content and this video that you subscribe by clicking the subscribe button. And if you are looking for more personalized and one-on-one support and help, you can simply click on the banner. There's a link to my video and my website where you can book a free consultation if you are looking for a powerful way using hypnosis and rapid transformational therapy to heal after having been in a toxic and unhealthy relationship. So buckle up. We are going to go over 35 signs of a toxic and unhealthy relationship today. Maybe you're researching after having gotten out of a relationship, or maybe still in one and understanding and feeling things just aren't right. What's going on here? So in a toxic and unhealthy relationship, you'll notice a cycle, a pattern. While all abusive relationships are toxic, not all toxic relationships are abusive. So, an abusive relationship is defined by the abuse cycle. And what that is first there's the tension building stage. You'll notice kind of things start to heat up a little bit. And then the incident of abuse stage. And abuse can be emotional, mental, spiritual, physical, financial. There's many different types of abuse. And then the reconciliation stage, like the makeup stage. And then the calm stage. It kind of seems like things are calm, but you'll notice this cycle. And in simple words, abusive relationships, there's a fight followed by making up, and then it's all roses and rainbows until the next fight. So an analogy is flowers after fists, right? So toxic relationships are not always clinical in nature, and there are many other dysfunctional behaviors that are employed to diffuse conflict in a toxic relationship. We're going to go over those today. And one of them you'll notice is stonewalling. Stonewalling, silent treatment. Say your partner doesn't like you having friends, which most of the time they don't because you're your friends or your support, or they don't like you having friends of the opposite sex. And so maybe you try to make a plan with hanging out with people, your friends, and some of these are people of the opposite gender, and you have known them for much longer than you've been with your partner, and they are just outright cold or rude to your friend, or you try to talk to them about it and they just brush you off, they deny any feelings of insecurity or jealousy, and obviously you're picking up on that. That is stonewalling, and that is one of the most commonly used abuse tactics in a toxic and unhealthy relationship. But you think, okay, well, maybe it's not abuse because there's no fight followed by a resolution. Well, either way, it is a very toxic behavior. We're going to go over 35 warning signs of toxic behaviors in relationships today. These are things that your partner may do or things that you may feel, things that happen in your relationship. And you're going, I don't know, is my relationship toxic or not? Well, the first one, do you often bicker with each other? Like, even if it's little things, you constantly find yourself like bickering and bickering and bickering and bickering, and you're going, gosh, this is so stupid. And maybe you find yourself comparing it to other relationships or friendships that you have that don't have that. Well, definitely a sign of a toxic uh, relationship is when there's a lot of bickering. The second one is that you find out important information about your partner in conversations with other people. And these are things that your partner has not opened up and disclosed to you. And you're having conversations with other people, and you find out really important information about your partner while having conversations with other people. And you're going, wow, that's kind of a big deal. Why would they not tell me that? Why would they leave that out? Mm, yeah, sign of a toxic relationship. The third one, your partner withholds information about their finances. Maybe things are getting more serious and you're talking about moving in together, buying a house together, maybe starting a business together, buying a car together, whatever it is. And all of a sudden, they seem to have all these things, and then boom, they don't have good credit, or are in massive debt. All these things, like if they withhold information about their finances, that's a red flag. Definitely a sign of a toxic relationship. Not all encompassing, but that is one thing to be aware of. The fourth one is there are things that you can't talk to your partner about because you are afraid of how they may react. Not a healthy thing to have. In a relationship, you should be able to talk to your partner about anything. They may not like it and you may end up agreeing to disagree, which is okay. But if you feel that there are things you can't talk to your partner about because you are afraid of how they may react, not a good sign. Fifth one is promises and commitments are often broken. I always say, we're all going to make mistakes, and a healthy person will honestly and genuinely apologize for those mistakes. But the best apology is change behavior. If they are constantly making promises and commitments and they're broken or they're just dismissed, it feels like kicking the can down the road, like, oh yeah, no, I'm going to get to that. And then they never circle back around. They're avoiding taking responsibility. Not a good sign. Definitely a sign of a toxic relationship. The sixth one, you would rather sit in silence with each other than have a conversation about something that's bothering you. If you feel like there's this elephant in the room and you're sitting there and you're next to them, maybe you're both on your phones, and it's just stewing, it's stewing, it's stewing, but you find that you'd rather sit in silence or rather just sit on your phone, then talk to them about that thing that's bothering you. Not a good sign. Definitely a sign of a toxic relationship. If they don't get along with your friends, or vice versa, you don't get along with their friends, there's that saying that you are a sum of the people that you are closest to, the five most people. So if you don't get along with their friends and they don't get along with your friends, sign of a toxic relationship. If you often feel manipulated, well, if you feel manipulated, it's because you're being manipulated. So if you feel manipulated, sign of a toxic relationship. If they or you exhibit passive aggressive behavior. And maybe that's not naturally who you are, but that's a sign that there's something going on you're trying to protect and hide from within you, an unhealed wound. If they're being passive aggressive or if you're being passive aggressive to them, that's a sign that there's something that's going on. Not a good sign. If you or they get mad when the other person is busy with work, we all work, but if you get mad or they get mad when you're busy with work and they're not understanding or supportive, yeah, we need balance, right? And if you're using work as a way to dismiss or avoid things, and then they get mad at you or vice versa, not a good time. You should be able to have a healthy conversation about that and come to an agreement to how things can get better. But you shouldn't get mad that someone's busy with work, and they shouldn't get mad that you're busy with work either. If you feel the need to do everything together, not a healthy sign. Yeah, I mean, relationships, you spend a lot of time together, but you should not feel the need to do everything together. You should have a life outside the relationship. You should have hobbies, interests, things that you do. You should have friends outside the relationship that you can go spend time with, separate and apart from each other, and bring back to the relationship and use that as a form of connection. So, not a good sign if you feel the need to do everything together. The 12th thing, if you only like doing the bare minimum together, so quite the opposite of the 11th thing, if you only like doing the bare minimum together, that means you're probably not that compatible. So, not a really good sign and not something that is going to allow the relationship to thrive. So, if you only like doing the bare minimum together, if they undermine your efforts in the relationship and tell you what you did or didn't do is no big deal. Say you work your butt off and you've got this project at work and you do an amazing job, you get rewarded for it, and you get acknowledged for it, and they're like, what's the big deal? If your efforts are undermined in the relationship and they're like, really? No big deal. I blah blah blah. And then they start talking about themselves or they just simply don't acknowledge all of that. Not good. Number 14, if there are more unresolved fights than resolved fights. If your list of unresolved things, things that are still issues, versus resolved things. If the unresolved list is bigger than the resolved list, not a good thing. You should be able to come to a resolution and come to the table and come together and resolve the things in a way that works best for both of you. If you find that you are walking on eggshells constantly around this person, that feeling of having to tiptoe, not a good sign. If you feel like you need to be perfect all the time around them, not a good sign. There's no such thing as perfect. There's only perfectly imperfect. You should feel free to be you in the relationship. So if you feel like you have to be perfect all the time around them, whether it's getting up and like instantly putting your makeup on or doing your hair or shaving, whatever it is, you should be able to walk around in your pajamas and feel just as confident with this person and just as excited with this person as you do when you're all dressed up. Of course, it feels good to be dressed up, but you should not feel the need to be perfect around this person all the time in regards to how you look, how you dress, what you say, whatever it is. So, next sign of a toxic and unhealthy relationship is this person expects you to drop everything you are doing and be there for them when they need you. If they say, hey, I need you now, and they expect you to just, okay, and they say, oh, jump, and your response needs to be, oh, how high? No, Sign of a toxic and unhealthy relationship is you are expected to drop everything you're doing when they need you. No. Or if they aren't there for you when you need them, I hear this a lot in the clients that I work with. I'm always there for them. I do everything for them. And I would because I love them and I care about them. Well, that's a sign of codependency. But yes, of course, you should be there for your partner. But then something major happens and they're not there for you when you need them. That's a bad sign. If they're passive aggressive, often, we all have our moments, right? We get triggered and we get ticked. But if they're often passive aggressive and making jabs and comments at you, underhanded and undermining, and you're going, what? Not a good time. When you have a fight, if they give you the silent treatment, if they just go stone cold, they don't talk to you for days or weeks, the foundation of a healthy relationship is open, honest communication. There's no communication when there's a silent treatment. It means, and you're left wondering, what did I do? What can I do to make this better? How long is it going to be like this? Not a good sign when you have a fight and you're given the silent treatment for however long it is. I mean, yes, we all need the cooling off period, but you should be able to say, I'm feeling really upset right now. I'm going to go for a walk, or I'm going to go to my mom's house, or I'm going to go da da da, and I'll be back. And then, set a by when. I'll be back tonight, by dinner, before bed, whenever. Okay, cool. Like, go take your time and space to cool off and process. But if you're given the silent treatment and they're there and you're in the same house, but you're not talking or communicating, bad sign. Next one, if you find yourself apologizing all the time, if sorry becomes a regular word in your vocabulary and you find yourself constantly apologizing, it's not a good sign. Sorry should be reserved for when you're actually sorry and you're not going to do that behavior anymore. If you find yourself apologizing all the time, especially for things that they did, sign of a toxic relationship. If you are having intercourse in this relationship and it is weaponized, and that intercourse is used as either a reward or withdrawal when it's used as punishment, definitely a sign of a toxic relationship. It should be mutual, it should be consensual, and it should be enjoyed. It should not be weaponized or used as a reward or punishment, or the withdrawal of it as punishment either. If they don't care about your consent, this goes with that last one. If they don't care about your consent and you're forced into doing things that you don't want to do, whether it's being intimate or even outside of that, getting into arrangements or engagements that you're not comfortable with and your consent is not given, if they don't care about your consent, bad sign of a toxic relationship. If it's never their fault, it's always either your fault or it's someone else's fault. If they always find a way to take it off of them and put it on other people, they never take responsibility. Nothing's ever their fault. Sign of a toxic relationship. If they're extremely jealous and very possessive, maybe you're going out to dinner and we all naturally look at each other and you look over and okay, that person's, very good looking. And it's okay to think other people are good looking. It's okay to be intrigued or attracted by a certain thing. It doesn't mean you want to go do anything with them. But if this person that you're with is extremely jealous and possessive, or maybe in that experience would start a fight with someone else or not allow you to go out with your friends because they're going to accuse you of doing all these things that you're not going to do. You're just going out with your friends. If they're extremely jealous and possessive, toxic. If they tell you how to dress, no. I mean, it's nice to say, hey, you look really good in that. I like when you wear the color green. But if they're telling you that you don't look good in that, but it's like your favorite shirt, you should be able to wear it wherever you want, whenever you want. If they're telling you how to dress up or not allowing you to dress up and telling you to dress down because when you dress up, you look too provocative, if they're controlling how you dress, not a good sign. If they criticize your taste and the things that you like most, like maybe it's music, a lot of people have different music tastes and that's okay. But if they're criticizing the music you like, the food you like, the movies you like, the clothes that you like, or even the friends that you have, if they're criticizing your taste and all that, toxic sign. If no one is ever good enough for them, and maybe it's your family or their family or friends, no one's ever good enough for them. Sign, bad sign. If they interrupt you constantly, you're talking and you're sharing the story and then interruption and you're like, I'm sorry, I was talking. Or if they answer questions on your behalf, say you're out with a group of people and then you get asked a question and then they come and swoop in with the answer and they answer it on your behalf and they don't allow you to express yourself and use your voice. Toxic sign. If they accept invitations on behalf of you, say they get this invitation and they're like, oh yeah, she'll be there. And you're like, uh, would have been nice if you checked with me first because I actually already have something else that night and now I'm double booked and I feel obligated to go to this thing that I didn't even know about that you said I would be at. So if they're accepting invitations on behalf of you, no, it's respectful to check in and say, hey, we got an invitation to this. Are you available? If they're accepting invitations on behalf of you, not a good sign. If they lie, even after being caught and provided the evidence and you confronted them, uh, hey, so you remember that thing you told me about that you weren't involved in and didn't do, had no idea about? Well, here's the evidence. What's up? And they lie about it. And often they're lying about lying when they get to that point. If they lie even after being caught and confronted and you have facts and evidence to present to them, sign of a toxic relationship. Here's the thing. If they can't take no for an answer, no, period. Like no is a complete sentence. It's only two letters, one word, but it is a complete sentence. If you say no and they cannot take no for an answer, bad sign of a toxic relationship, because that means they are overstepping and not respecting your boundaries. So, not a good thing. If they share your private information with other people without your consent, it's like, I told you that in privacy, and I told you that because I trusted you, and now you're out blabbing around and telling everyone, like that was really personal. If anyone that you're in a relationship with is sharing your private information with other people without first checking in with you or without your consent, not good. This is a person that needs to be cut out of your life, and is certainly someone that you should not be sharing any personal private information with. The next one, if they bring up the past often, suddenly they remember that, well, remember like 3 years ago when you, and you're like, oh, well, yeah, I mean, I remember that, but what does that thing 3 years ago have to do with this thing today? I thought and we already apologized for that. Why is that still getting brought up? If they're not able to let go and bring up the past often, not a good thing. And the last one, if they don't encourage you to grow as an individual, and they want you to continue to be dependent on them, going to them for everything. They're not encouraging you to go and continue to find yourself and grow as an individual. That is a sign of a toxic and unhealthy relationship. So I hope that all of these signs, yes, there's a lot of them, help you understand more about your situation, the dynamic of your situation, and what to do in the relationship. And it may not end overnight. I get that. In the past relationships I've been in that have had these traits and qualities, it took a while. One of them was a marriage, so it took a while to go through the process, and one of them was basically a marriage, but not legally, but everything else would have constituted it being a marriage. So get out. Make your plan to get out. You deserve to be respected, and you deserve the opposite of all these toxic traits. You deserve healthy traits. And some of these may still be present in a healthy relationship, but you're not going to have the majority of these in a healthy relationship because there's going to be mutual respect. So, if you are out of the unhealthy relationship, but you still feel like you're in it mentally, like you're still, like all those ruminating toxic thoughts are going around and around and around in your head, and you're wondering, what could I have done differently? Like they've moved on. Do they like this new person better? Is this new person amazing? And all these things that I'm not. Uh, that is where hypnosis and rapid transformational therapy really, really makes the most profound, significant difference in being able to take you to the next step, to move out of the victim mentality into surviving, which is the next step, and then initially thriving. So you can break the cycle and not find yourself in another relationship with these same traits and qualities. So I would love to connect and talk about working together one-on-one if that is where you're at and what you are ready for. Otherwise, I hope this information finds you helpful in your journey to healing. You can always reach out and send me a message through Wizio in regards to your specific uh, predicament, or just wondering what I should do. What do you think? Or you can connect and we can talk one-on-one about working together personally through therapy. So thank you guys. Remember to subscribe and comment, and let me know what you think about this video.